Yeah.
He was also like he got out with a fucking Purple Heart and stuff. Like he got a fucking not IED, not IUD.
Yeah.
IED
Yes, an
fucking
IED.
blew up and he got a bunch of fucking shrapnel in his leg.
Sick.
That is probably not nearly as bad as an IUD exploding.
Are we good?
Yeah.
I mean, nuts.
Jason just gonna keep gobbling his nuts.
Jason, why don't you eat nuts outside?
Oh?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we haven't had enough
EA
Boom
420.
Shakalaka.
EA.
Shakalaka! Shakalaka!
Okay. Yeah, let's just get into it. Everyone seems good. So yeah, it's that time of the year where, again, I said this on the last one. The point of this is to celebrate games that came out the year. It is us to talk about what was good. But things aren't always good. And as a result, we do get a containment category where we can just cram all of the negativity we felt throughout the year, all of the frustration, all of the disappointment into one fucking category so that it doesn't leak out into other things, except for when Jason and I are going to bicker about God of War. And again, this is the evolution of worst game. The games that are in this category are not the worst games that came out this year. They're not.
I mean, they could
None
be.
of us have truly played the worst games that came out this year. There's like a million hentai Vampire Survivor clones on Steam. These are not
Surprisingly better
Real
than
shit.
the main game.
What are they
not
called?
hentai Survivor.
Probably
This
is
is-
one just called Hentai Survivor, yeah.
These aren't the games that are the worst, but they are the games that we thought we were going to have a really good time with, but we were left wanting more, or we were left with an overall bad taste in our mouth after experiencing them. I could have done a top 10 most disappointing for this
I've
year.
only
There were a
got
lot
2.
of things that fucking missed the mark for me, but my first one is, I'm going to bring it back to our best visuals category. My number 3 is Scorn. I remember when this game got announced, it was just one of those like Xbox Game Pass sizzle reels. And much like Cuphead before it, it was one of those ones where you see it and it's just like, oh fuck, what was that? I want like rewind that. I want to fucking look at that. It's a dope ass like HR Giger first person shooter, adventure, walking simulator type game. And they fucked this game up so fucking badly with the combat in it that I was completely hate fucking it at the end. It's not even a particularly long game. It's only like 5 hours. They're asking $40 motherfucking dollars for this game. It is on Game Pass, so I didn't pay any money to experience it, thank God. But what a fuck up of a game. And if anyone ever tries to do shit like this in the future, it is going to invoke this fucking game. I felt horrible about it, giving it any kind of award because of how fucking mad I am that they fucking fumbled the bag on this game.
It's the agony of 2022.
I still haven't played Agony though. Like,
Well, you should
Agony
get on that.
It's all right over there. I got it. It's installed, but I got it right over there. But yeah, what a fucking bummer of a thing that should have been such a slam dunk. And like, it even starts really, really cool because the first hour or two, you're not doing any of the shitty combat. And it's like, oh, this is just like HR Giger missed. This is fresh as fuck. The puzzles are mostly really good in the beginning. Feel really good to solve them and figure them out because it doesn't tell you shit. There's like no dialogue, no expository text. It's just you fucking figuring your shit out. And then they start to do combat with it, and it is fucking dog shit. What a abysmal goddamn slog of a game. I cannot recommend anyone ever play this motherfucking game. Avoid this shit like the plague. It's not even so bad it's good. It just fucking sucks. Google pictures of the game and you will get a better experience compared to playing it. But Ryan, you don't have a number 3.
I
and
don't
if you'd like
have a
to
number
forfeit
3.
your slot, I'm more than happy to throw something on there.
That'll probably push us long. I just want Jason to go.
What about
Go,
Tunic,
no.
Ryan? What about Tunic?
What about it? You got to play something to be disappointed in it. You got to have
Okay.
expectations for it to be disappointed in
Okay.
it.
Jason,
I
what is your
played.
number?
Well,
Oh,
we'll talk about Tunic. We'll pretend mine is Tunic. I played like the demo for that game because I was excited for it, and I was like, "Nah, they're doing that thing where they're just synthesizing a bunch of stuff from a bunch of other games, and the only lesson they learned from Dark Souls is that it's hard." And
No, you
I
can
was
roll
like,
too.
"Yeah, I was like, oh, this just isn't for me."
I get pissed off. It's much like Inscription of last year. I get pissed off all of these like fucking journalists I hear praising this game, but then also say things like a lot of people say this is like Dark Souls, but I've never played any of those, so I can't speak to that. But it's like, no, you just like the secrets and cool things in Tunic. It's like these have been done to death in Souls games for fucking 10 years.
The
Like,
combat and stuff is so bad or so hard that most of the people I've seen have just set it to easy mode because they want to see the secret stuff.
yeah, that's
And it's
not
like,
good.
Is that a sign of a good game? I don't know.
Hate people talking positively about that game. Jason, what's your number 3?
So I didn't really have disappointments this year like I have in previous years where like things have really just bummed me out because I was looking forward to them. So I didn't like I don't know. This year I wasn't really let down by anything. There weren't any games I was really excited for that made me sad because they just sucked ass. So the things I picked are really just games that were kind of hyped up and didn't hit for me, or one of them was just had a bad aspect that spoiled the good parts of the game, so I stopped playing it. My number 3 was Pentiment because it was pretty heavily hyped and it couldn't have been less my thing, which is totally fine. But like that was the only reason it was a letdown is because I was looking forward to playing it and it couldn't have done less for me.
It happens.
Yeah, definitely
Like-
one of those like
I played
Jason's
I
not a
mean,
video game things.
yeah, like I definitely was pretty tired when I booted it up. I wasn't in the best headspace to dive into a new game, but I turned it on and maybe played an hour and a half, and nothing ever happened. It's not a video game.
I had
And like maybe
since it
more
was-
stuff later in the game happens that makes it a video game, but in the hour plus that I played, I walked left and right and did some dialogue, and it wasn't even good dialogue.
It's a VN.
since it was on
Just
Game Pass, I
walking.
didn't feel like super bad about like trying to push you
Yeah,
into
like
it, but I had
it cost
no
me nothing.
expectations that you would enjoy it. But
Yeah,
I
it cost
figured,
it cost me nothing.
yeah, figured might as well try. I got 2 hours out of you. That's the best I can hope for. But no, it is completely not your thing.
Yeah.
But without Lily, what is your number 3 thing that was not your thing?
My number 3 thing that's not my thing is something that I thought would be my thing, and it's Warzone 2.
Yeah. Oh, thank God someone brings this up. Oh,
Like,
fuck yes.
I had a lot of fun just squadding up and playing the first Warzone a few times a year. You know, it was fun. It was a good time. But when we loaded into the new one, it seemed like they tried to make it easier for everyone, which kind of just made it harder. Like it seemed like you died faster. It seemed like things were harder to find. There wasn't as much cash just around.
Mhm.
Like it seemed like they made it harder to pick things up, but easier to die and lose all of the shit that you had picked up.
And like they incentivized it, or it feels like they expect you to get way more into it and like understand specifically how this game turns. Whereas like Warzone, I think is one of the best battle royales ever made because of like how it adapted things like the PUBG or Fortnite did, puts its own spin on it and really understands what like makes that genre fun, and then totally just like fucked up the pacing of everything in Warzone 2. I hated that like 2 hours we spent playing Warzone.
Yeah,
I
it was.
fucking
I didn't have any
hated
fun.
it.
I did
Wow.
not have. I think the most
I
fun
still
of that
haven't
whole
gotten
thing
into it.
is I think the most fun of all of that was parachuting in before the match and just having here's some loadout, go wild.
They took Igor out.
Yeah, they took Igor out. 0 out of 10. Don't ever
Yeah,
play
fuck,
this game.
fuck that shit.
Can you
Yeah,
still
and then
play
they killed-
Warzone 1?
What?
Do what?
Can you still play Warzone 1?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Or
I
have
don't
they
think
like
so.
completely replaced it?
I think
I
they
hope
killed it like they
I
did with
bet they
Overwatch
did. Like
1.
that, it makes sense. It would behoove them since they're
Yeah.
both free to play games for them to kill it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't
Yeah,
even
it-
looked. I haven't played Warzone in over a year probably.
bums me. Like, not that we even like played that much Warzone, but like Warzone is what I think Warzone's the best made battle royale that's ever existed. I think that game is remarkable, and I hated every minute we spent playing
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Warzone 2.
Yeah, it was not fun. So that's my number 3 biggest letdown.
Yeah,
Is a
completely.
0 out of 10.
I'm glad you brought it up.
But again, a
Dan-
game that cost none of us any money, so that's at least
That's
good.
true. That is
Yeah,
true.
no,
It
but
was
yeah,
free.
That's
that's
on
how
the
bad
list.
it is. Like
Mm.
I lost my time. Game is not worth my time. Danny, what is your number 3 that's not worth your time?
I honestly didn't play a lot of games that I was very disappointed with, and most of the ones that I was initially disappointed with, when I put more time into them, they ended up coming back around. I have here Horizon Forbidden West, just because I think I'm just kind of tired of that
Those
style
games aren't
of game.
good.
I like it seems fine. The environment is cool. Like I like the aesthetic of the game, but like I don't know. I was not granted I didn't play the first Horizon game. But like I was not really feeling engaged with the characters. I like none of the like plot felt like I needed to play more of it. I booted it up towards the end of the year for the first time, and I played like 2 or 3 hours and was just like, I would much rather play more Elden Ring or play more Splatoon or anything.
That's the Horizon feeling.
Yeah, like I didn't even bother doing. I got the first Horizon and played maybe a quarter of it. I liked what was happening in the story, but the gameplay just wasn't doing it for me. It felt too repetitive of just like trying to do stealth stuff around the dinosaur robots, and it just didn't click. So I didn't even bother
in that fucking game, and it's still
I didn't
bad.
even bother getting the new one, even though I did like how the story at least started in the first one.
Yeah, like all of it seems fine. Like it doesn't seem like bad. Like I don't particularly dislike anything that Horizon does. But none of it is gripping.
Like this has happened to them twice now. Twice that look like one. They release their game around another game that then moves the open world genre so far forward that this game looks dated and not good. Like the first one came out
the same
around
year, Breath of Wild.
It was the same week as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and then this one
was
came
the same week as Elden Ring.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was like a month before Elden Ring.
Oh god, maybe it was. It like point is like it gets totally.
It had like a month to breathe before Elden Ring, but then Elden Ring came and just all discussion of Horizon dropped off the surface of the earth. Oh, it was 1 week.
7 days.
Yeah.
8
February
25th.
Horizon came out 7 days before Elden Ring.
Okay, fair enough.
And
That's
it
big.
got dunked on about as hard as a game can.
Yeah.
It happened. I mean, no, the first time it happened with Breath of the fucking Wild. So the moral here is when Horizon 3 comes out, we're
Find another game.
The greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
Wait a week and buy the game that the open world game that comes out a week after Horizon 3.
I didn't
Buy
play
the dollar for every time it happened. It's only $2, but it's insane that it happened twice.
I didn't play this one. I only played a little bit of the first one, but like again, it came out the same week as Breath of the Wild, but also like the first one just felt like somebody looked at a checklist of what people expect in an open world game, and they just did that, and then added a character.
Assassin's Creed energy.
And then added the main character that just never shuts the fuck up. Like you will be alone, no one nearby.
Yeah.
Pick up a flower and she'll be like, "Oh, this is useful." Like, shut up.
They took robot dinosaurs and made it boring.
Yeah, how do you make robot dinosaurs boring? That's like the coolest thing you could think of.
But
whatever.
The game is fine. I might go back to it eventually, but
these aren't the worst games that came out this year.
Yeah,
it's just like it's not that these games are like awful or poorly made necessarily. It's just
I had watched my friend Finian play for like an hour or two, and like I saw the environment and was like, oh, this is cool. And there's like a leveling system that like I think you could probably do some cool, interesting things with. And like, yeah, I just saw the environment and was like, yeah, no, I can get into this. And then I like
Game
months
is
later,
beautiful also.
yeah, it's
So
gorgeous.
all the money Sony like will pump into a game, like
Yeah.
Be
But
good for
then
something, right?
yeah, I finally got into the game a couple months later and was just like, okay. So
okay.
yeah.
Hunter, what made you go, okay?
That's the Horizon experience. My biggest letdown is also my or my number 3 letdowns. My biggest surprise. It's Gundam Evolution.
A rare double.
Mostly in how they handled it, because it's a free-to-play game, so obviously it's got microtransactions out the ass. But there were 5 locked character mobile suits you could play as, but you had to buy them. And if you were free to play, maybe they fixed it now, but when it first came out, when you were free to play, you would only ever earn enough money to unlock 2 of them. So there were 3 that you would just never be able to use. And they fixed this, like you also would not be able to try them in like the training area. They fixed that since you can apparently now try any suit even if you don't own it. So like one of the suits is a melee Zaku. It builds a rage meter as it gets shot at, to where it fills up, it does like a lot more damage and is tougher and is faster. You could not find out about this unless you had the melee Zaku unlocked, because again, you can't even see what the suits do in game if you don't have them unlocked. And then it took them months to actually like patch it. And when they did, they nerfed one suit that did not need any nerfing, did not touch one suit that needed a lot of fixing because, quote, players weren't using it right. And then they just increased
Poise is working as intended.
And then they just increased ammo count for like every other unit, which wasn't great because the sniper can headshot a unit and like one shot almost every other player in the game. And they increased it so now like they gave it another bullet. So now a good sniper on the enemy team could headshot and take out your entire team before reloading.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
Sounds like a good time.
Good balance.
It's just like you just copied Overwatch. You got a good base here. How'd you fuck it up so bad? And now the game's pretty much dead already. Like they released another Gundam not too long ago to try to get people back, and it didn't fucking work because who cares about new Gundam? Who outside of Japan has seen Char's counterattack other than me?
I've seen Char's counterattack actually.
Well, there you go. You're the audience for new Gundam.
They just need to make another Psychokinetic Wars.
Now we're talking. Okay. Just gonna rip the band out. We just got to get into it. And like, look, we've been getting into it mildly this entire time. I need to talk about God of War Ragnarok. And I'm not doing this.
Good it is.
I'm not doing this to start shit. I'm not trying to stir shit, but
that comes later.
I need to just get it out. I was so let down by this game. I needed to write a blog post explaining all of the fucking things this game did wrong.
It was a pretty good blog post.
And how fucking frustrated I am with it. I'm a God of War fan. I like all the God of Wars. I liked that last one quite a fucking bit, 2018. And they blow it so hard on this game from like the gameplay to the writing to just everything, where it's that modern Sony mentality of wanting the prestige television show in their video games and not wanting to actually make video games when they just needed to make something way more video gamey. again, not the worst game I played this year. It's got like some good moments in it, like the fucking wolf thing that we were talking about earlier. It's not like that this game's completely abysmal. Sindri gets some amazing play in it. I think he's written really well, and his story is probably the best written thing in the entire game. But they just make so many other wild missteps that it's like they didn't learn anything from making the previous one. I think they fuck so many things up with this game so consistently. It's not like one thing. Like, sure, that mission where you're playing as Atreus with the giant girl. It's like that's probably the lowest point of the game. But like,
Yeah, I
it's
won't
not
argue with you
just
there.
that. It's so many things that are just baffling to me. Like, I the the choices get made with people who forgive Kratos for doing things in that game at the drop of a fucking hat, where he really didn't do anything to earn that forgiveness, and I feel like they should be way more pissed off at him still. But it's just kind of like, this wouldn't we can't have the game keep going, like we need to just kind of push this off. I think
I
that like
I don't think I won't heavily argue that point because I think I know the specific part you're talking about. And I kind of felt the same way when it happened. I was like, that felt a little forced and easy, but whatever. The game,
and
I'm
it's
like, and my thought was like, but whatever. I'm having fun, so fuck it. Like that was my
that
kind of thought
moment
process on it.
and that moment doesn't sink the whole game, but it's stuff like that over and over and over and over again that just grate on me. And I
And
stand
that
by
Atreus
this. Like,
level's horrible.
I think that what they like, that first game has perfect combat. Like, what the combat system they developed in that first game is perfect. Every single thing has a purpose. There is no situation that cannot be covered by the gameplay that it gives you in that first one. And then when you get into this one, well, it wouldn't make sense to start Kratos over with nothing, that
Yeah.
video game ass thing, like the Metroid thing. But you can't build on that combat anymore because you could already achieve all of the combat situations. That's my
Mhm.
issue with the Draupnir spear. I'm not saying that the spear is like inherently bad, but it doesn't let you achieve anything you couldn't achieve before with the tools you already had. So
I agree with that. I like it because because it just gives you a different option. So it gives you another style of combat you can use. Because yeah, you don't need the spear to beat all really any of like the major people that you fight. Like yeah, sure you could do it with the axe and
yeah,
the chain with like the chaos blades, but I think it was still worth adding because it gave you different options. So you don't have to only have the one ranged attack with the axe.
and I guess I like that balance of like, okay, they're dropping this enemy in on me. I need to analyze the situation. I need to switch to the thing I need. I need to throw the axe, but then okay, I've got guys over here, so we know I need to leave the axe there, keep him frozen. Let's whip out Blades of Chaos, hit these guys, fucking bust it. Like that mental game. It's like the Doom
It's
2016 thing of like
I
reading a room and
I
doing
definitely
sort of
combat
like a
get
checks.
I definitely get what you're
like
saying with that.
combat becomes sort of a dance
Yeah,
in
it's a
like
puzzle.
yeah
Hmm.
in 2018. I
Yeah.
haven't played Ragnarok, so I don't
And like
really
they
know how
don't,
it feels, but
and like you were saying, they don't have any. I can't think of any enemies where you like have to use the spear on them first. Like how you have the enemies where they have the
Yeah.
little like cold bar or hot bar, so you need to
Mhm.
use the opposite weapon to like clear that portion of their health before they can be affected by all your weapons. I agree
Or
they
like
didn't add anything with the spear where that it's required,
if I could
but I
spear
do
people and like
I
pin
do think it
them
was
in
just nice to
place.
get yeah. No, I don't disagree with any of that, but I still think that the spear added fun to the combat where if it was just the axe and the blades of chaos, it would have been a pain in the ass to play that whole game because
And
the combat wasn't. That's why the first like third of the game was kind of a slog to me because the combat was identical, and it doesn't help that I had literally just played the first God of War for the first time a week before that game came out. So that was a struggle. That Atreus mission that you mentioned is by far the worst part of the game. I fell asleep with the controller in my hand, and given it was
like
2 in the morning, but like I was super tired. But like I fell asleep while I was like controlling the like cow that you're riding on that level. And I
I
do think they made a I think they made some mistakes with the Atreus levels by having you take over as him too early. Because the first few times that you're doing like just Atreus solo levels, the combat's
it's just
atrocious.
mash, 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 mash,
It's
mash, mash,
it's
mash.
it's just shoot arrows with no special abilities and then hit people with your bow. Like that's a good attack. So I think they made the mistake of having him be way too low powered and you controlling him as a solo mission. I think he should have gotten some of his bonuses while you're still Kratos before they send you to fight with him by himself. Because I liked some of the later Atreus missions where when he had the weird little sword that can fly and
The
had
sword's
a-
cool
and had
Like-
additional special abilities on his bow.
and can transform into the
had-
animals.
Yeah, and can transform into animals. Like once that stuff was added, the Atreus missions were actually like fun. The first 2 or 3 Atreus missions were easily the worst missions in the game because they were longer than they needed to be, and the combat was really, really, really watered down compared to what you're used to from playing God of War 2018 and just the Kratos missions before that. So I think that was the biggest shortcoming of the game. Like it definitely, I mean, to spoil, it's not my number one game this year by a long shot, but I did really enjoy it a lot more than you did overall. But yeah, it definitely has weaknesses. It's not a flawless game. I still think it's a very good game. Like, it's fun.
I hate the way that story wrapped up. I am a sucker for father-son stories at this point. Like part of why I like 2018, but just like I think that story wraps up in a dissatisfying way. And to say a positive thing about it, really curious where they go from here.
I didn't love the
guess.
ending, and I mean, but I will. I mean, if they do a third one, I assume they're going to, I'll play it. But I didn't love the way it wrapped up. I didn't like that last like 10-minute sequence compared to enjoying the last 10-minute sequence of the first game.
Yeah. And again, the Brock and Sindri storyline is incredible. And what like part of why I had such a problem with like the main campaign is like the entire time since like Sindri drops that little bit of information, the entire time I'm like, no. I want get me more of this story. Like I want to know what's going on here. And I think that story is handled very, very well. It's very interesting. And like that hangs with anything that was in the first game narratively.
Yeah. I think some characters they did well. I think a couple characters that they did some disservice to, for sure.
Okay.
And I'm curious to see where it goes because how it ended was kind of an empty load feeling ending.
I've said my piece. We move on.
I heavily like it for the gameplay aspects, and I think a lot of it was hurt for you more on the story writing side.
But I mean, it's both. Like, I think that it's if it had done one of these two things well, I could forgive the other one, but I think it drops the ball on both of them. But okay,
and I think chunks of story there that I still did like, but there were definitely some weak points, no question.
Odin is acted very well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a most divisive.
Thank you for tuning into the God of War cast.
I'm done. We can I can drop it. We can just move on. Ryan, what's your number 2?
Yeah, that's only number 2, baby.
I know. My number 2 is actually Escape Academy. And not because
let's
it's a
fight.
bad game.
We are fighting each other this episode. Let's fucking go.
No, not because it's a bad game, but because the input lag on whatever version I was playing, the original Xbox One version, was the worst input lag I've ever experienced in a game, that the game was unplayable. Where it'd be like, I look a direction and it was almost a full second later before my character would look that direction. I'd press A to pick something up and it'd be like, everything moves so slowly that I could really only do the tutorial without getting so frustrated playing that game that I dropped it.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I was really bummed out. So I still have it installed just in case they ever update it to be working.
Sure.
But yeah, Escape Academy. Fix your shit.
It's not broken. They're just emulating the Ouya experience.
Yeah.
Jason, what is your number 2 shit that should fix its shit?
So my number 2 is, again, it's not a game I dislike. It was just kind of a different scenario, but my number 2 was Roller Drome.
That bumps me out.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at is it didn't do anything wrong that made me disappointed in it or let down by it. It's definitely it's a scenario of mad because bad. Like I loved the first couple levels of that game. Like it sucked me in immediately. The controls felt great. The art style's amazing. But I got a few levels in and just the difficulty jumped pretty hard for me. So like the first couple levels I kind of breezed through. I would replay them a few times to kind of increase my score and try to get the additional kind of like goals. And then after a few, I just kept getting kind of overwhelmed and dying too easily that I just dropped it and haven't gone back into it. So that's really the only reason it was a letdown to me, was because it started so hot in like kind of every aspect of the game, and then I just got bad at it too quickly that it felt like I wasn't going to be able to overcome it if I was kind of like going from easy to struggling that quickly, like that early in the game.
I feel that game's tricky.
But yeah, so that was my only reason.
Well, with that, Lily, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Switch Sports.
Ah, yes, let's fucking fight.
So here's the thing. It's a fine game. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with it. Playing by yourself, playing with your friends is fun. It's a good time. It works well. They dialed in the motion controls. They did the Nintendo Sports thing.
Mhm.
However, I was looking forward to the character customization things and being able to play online.
Mm.
And the problem with that is specifically I wanted to play bowling online,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Debatably the best game of Wii Sports.
Naturally. Yeah.
Mhm.
Some might call it the best game of whatever year Switch Sports came out.
The Wii
2009.
generation.
Yeah, whenever that was.
2007,
That's what I said.
2006.
I think so.
6.
So I
Yeah,
get
no,
online and I do some bowling, and I remember how to Wii bowl, so it wasn't that difficult. And I got some character customization things, and it was neat. And then after a few games, I go in, and it is no longer letting me play regular bowling. It is
Crazy
forcing me to play
bowling.
special bowling, where it has the gaps in the floor, the little walls that come up in the middle. Like, it is forcing me to play special bowling online in order to unlock more character stuff. Because my skill level at bowling is too high or some shit like that.
Bad cause good.
Mm.
Yeah, and like I don't want that. Just because I'm decent at regular bowling doesn't mean I want to play this fucking obstacle course to get to the pins. I just want to throw the ball. I just want to play bowling online and spam stickers at people and end up with a cool hat.
Yeah.
Because
You
that's
can't,
so
you
much
just
to
gotta
ask
throw the
for, and
ball
apparently
That's basically what Destiny is.
over a pit.
right. But like it I don't know. It really disappointed me
Mm.
because it just came out of nowhere. It didn't even tell me that I was queuing up for special bowling. Like, I just went in to play another round of bowling, and it finally loaded in once it found all the players, and lo and behold, there's fucking walls in the lane. And I was like, no, I don't
Bowling
want
2.
this. Yeah, so that was a big letdown for me. Like, playing it locally with your friends, playing it single player against the computer it's exactly what you would think it is. It's still a good time. But
Mhm.
outside of that, it really let me down.
Okay. So temper my expectations with more Switch Sports.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, it's a good time. I definitely will play it more, but that kind of just soured the whole online experience for me.
Mm.
And I don't know what I have to do to be able to play regular bowling again.
Get worse.
I guess.
do bad.
It's like, I've lost 3 special bowls in a row because I'm not fucking good at them, and it still feeds them to me. So I don't know what to do at this point.
Danny, what is your
Yeah.
special number 2 game with walls in it?
Does it have walls? I guess it does have walls in it. My number 2 special with walls is Overwatch 2. It's just it's
Overwatch.
It's
It's
Overwatch
Overwatch 1 again.
but with a battle pass, and I fucking hate battle passes.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
No, they're
I
just
also
the
hate battle passes.
Let's talk
They're
about how
the-
much better loot boxes are compared to battle passes. Come
Okay,
on, loot
I
boxes.
don't like
Uh,
either of them.
Both are
yeah.
bad is the point.
Yeah, can I have neither?
Yeah, just let me
I
buy a
don't-
game and have the stuff.
I don't like aggressive monetization through microtransactions, and that's exactly what battle passes are. And so just Overwatch with a battle pass is just kind of like I'm not here for it.
Battle passes suck.
Yeah,
They make you feel obligated to play that game way too much the month you paid for it.
right. And it's just Overwatch. I enjoyed Overwatch 1 when it first came out. and then I had to keep paying a subscription for it. So like theoretically, like being free to play would make me want to play Overwatch 2, but it's lost its magic for me. I'm just not. I'm not into it. Overwatch 2 is it just again didn't draw me in. Did nothing to draw me in.
Overwatch poo.
Hey, you know what's
Overwatch
funny?
Blue.
Gundam Evolution has a battle pass and loot boxes.
Now
Incredible.
that.
Two
they
negatives
cancel
make a
out, so it's
positive, my
good.
dude.
Obviously, it learned all the best lessons from Overwatch.
See,
Connor-
actually,
Can't wait for
so
Gundam Evolution 2.
Splatoon 3 has a battle pass and loot boxes and a gachapon, but you don't pay for any of it, and it's great.
And you have to buy figurines to get outfits.
Yeah,
Are there amiibo
actually.
outfits again?
Yes, there are. I already have 3 of them, and I'm content with that. I would like the witch outfit, kind of.
Which one?
Uh,
Fuck off. Hunter, what's your number 2?
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to how bad Cyberpunk still is.
Fuck that game.
it's such
Edge
a good
Runners
like
is
skeleton.
not a very good anime either. If one more person fucking talks about how good Edge Runners is, I'm gonna fucking lose my goddamn mind. That shit is mediocre at best.
I haven't seen it yet.
Dash just doesn't like
but,
anime, but he pretends he does.
Like, Cyberpunk 2077 is such a good skeleton of a game. Like it's
A cyber
bones are there. The bones of a good game are there. You just have to mod it to shit to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. But anyway, my real number 2 is we're going to talk about Elden Ring a little bit, and that so the Radigan
Square up,
fight,
bitch. Fucking
so-
tread lightly, motherfucker.
the last couple fights, other than what's his face, all knowing guy, what's his name,
Gideon.
Gideon is obviously a pushover, comically so. But then
That's great.
Horlo is a really cool fight. Radigan is a really cool fight. But then there's a second phase of Radigan's fight that is so fucking bad. It is
I liked
so
Elden.
lame.
I like
God
that.
Beast.
Elden
whatever.
Beast is so awful because you can't lock onto it because the camera just fucking it locks onto like its neck, but it tracks the tip of its head. So anytime it moves, your camera just fucking flies all over the place. And the entire fight is just the beast running away from you to spam very easily dodgeable, like ranged attacks. Like
Throw pots at it.
It took me 1 try
Freeze it.
to beat Elden Beast. It took me like 3 to beat Radigan.
Hit it with a
Hate
big
you
sword.
so much. Elden Beast took me so long.
Elden Beast is so
Elden Beast is the easiest part of that. The
lame.
Horaloo is the highlight of that like ending.
Which-
But Horaloo
which is
an
funny,
incredible fight.
like-
Because I beat Horaloo in 1 try, and I smashed my face against Elden Beast for 3 hours and had to get health.
like it looks shitty. It
Go fuck yourself.
It
Go
looks shitty.
fuck yourself.
The arena is cool. Elden Beast looks like shit.
Go fuck yourself.
Elden Beast
I
looks
like
like
it. He
shit.
looks like a space
It's a
amoeba.
shit fight,
Yeah.
and it's just annoying. It's not hard. It's tedious.
Go
because,
fuck
again,
yourself.
The whole time is just it runs to the other side of the arena, spams at you with magic while you run towards it. You can hit it like 3 times maybe before it just like and flies to the other side again. And it's just like if this was a boss just in the middle of nowhere that did not have Radigan in front of it, I would have been like, fine, whatever. But the fact that Radigan is a really cool fight, and then it just follows it up with a wet fart, a wet starry fart. Dash, what's your number 1?
You done? You fucking done? Okay.
I thought you wanted to fight Dash.
Yeah. Okay. So let's.
He wasn't
okay,
ready for it.
Let's fucking go.
He needs to summon Ryan for help.
So hey,
Got
I
the
beat
pops,
that game
don't worry.
solo. Ryan summoned me.
Yeah, I like playing with
I beat
people.
that whole game solo because no one. I beat that game in a fucking like the second day it was out.
Yeah, she's not talking about the Elden Beast fight. He's talking about fighting him.
Okay.
Honorable mention of Elden Ring. I like everyone was done with multiplayer by the time I got to it, and like I was looking forward to it, and it's just there was no
If you're on the PC,
I don't know what
version,
Dash is
Danny,
doing there. What?
if you're on the PC version, apparently they're all using some mod called Better Co-op or something.
No, I'm on PlayStation.
Oh, I don't know then.
Okay.
Dash has notes
I've got
and
prompts.
visual
prompts.
aids.
All right, the
Um,
Carrot Top segment.
It's
Okay.
something on Switch.
Is he gonna
So-
smash a watermelon like Gallagher?
So
Rip.
yeah, God of War was a
He's
bit of
gonna
a
eat
letdown.
the Switch cartridge.
God of War
Oh,
undeniably a bit of a letdown for me. But Sony first party style games, or those kind of big prestige AAA games, you get those coming out every year. Next there's going to be one this year. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but there are going to be more games in that like same mental vein as God of War. There have been some every year, and it's going to continue that way. What we do not get every year, however, are premier character action games, which is one of my favorite genres of video game, period. Not a lot of people make them, and then even fewer people make them very well. The best one of these character action games that was ever made was Bayonetta 2.
No, get right.
Bayonetta 2 is the best character action game, full stop. No question, it's the best one. So, something like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, Nintendo announced that they are doing a Bayonetta 3. I am needless to say extremely excited about this. It then goes into development hell for a ton of years, and they gotta go quiet on it and don't show anything about it, and then finally they resurface and start showing stuff for it, and it looks so fucking good. It looks like everything I wanted it to fucking be. It looks great. It looks like the exact thing I wanted. So, being a massive fan, I do pre-order the big fancy collector's edition of this game for 100 United States cash dollars. I take the day off work for it when it comes out, so I can play it all day. And this game is bad. This isn't even a disappointment. This is where I would maybe actually invoke bad. It runs like shit. The writing is awful. The gameplay sucks shit out an ass. It does none of the things, none of the earmarks or hallmarks of why the series is so good. It does none of them well. The game on Switch looks and runs so fucking terribly. It makes Sonic Frontiers look like a Sony first party game. It is outrageous that they would be okay shipping this game. From a studio who like normally has a very high quality bar, and it's like even if they maybe don't like look the best, they run blisteringly smooth because you need these games to run well. It cannot maintain a consistent 30 frames a second, let alone the 60 you need out of them. Very frequently dropping into single digits and is completely unplayable. It's so fucking bad. And it's really frustrating because the two Switch ports of the first two games run beautifully. They did not need to do any of what they did. These games look great. They run great. Absolutely fantastic. Bayonetta 3 is fucking dog shit. I cannot say enough negative things about this game. I would rather play DMC Devil May Cry 100 times over than spend any more fucking time with Bayonetta 3. Every single thing that they could possibly do wrong with this game, they did wrong. People have made mods of it to just make the combat harder because it'll make the game a lot better. It's just dog shit. I love this franchise, and it's going to be another fucking decade before we get another good character action game. And having to wait so long in between even potential good releases makes this sting all the more. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. I will never replay this goddamn game. It is so goddamn bad. even if they fixed all the performance stuff, you still have an absolute fucking turd of a combat system. It's so goddamn bad. It is profound to me that they were willing to release this. And if I put my tinfoil fucking hat on for a minute, I am almost positive they thought they were going to have a stronger Switch to work with on the market. I can't prove that, but there have been a couple Switch games that have come out recently that's really like, you seem like you thought it's Pokemon is the other one, where it's like you thought you were going to have a lot more power to work with, didn't you?
No, that's just Game Freak.
But that game's bad even by Game Freak standards, because Arceus is like fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I go back and forth on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just because like they're not doing anything terribly like demanding on the system with that game. Like they're not trying to push the system. They just rushed it. Or
they thought they were going to have more power to work with and couldn't take the time to optimize it.
I don't think that's it though, because like I don't like it's not even coming close to pushing the system. Like,
with Scarlet and Violet, I've heard people say that it renders the entire region in any direction you're looking, but I don't know if that's true or not. But like
fucking stupid.
Like not even to the point where it's like, you know, if you see some mountains in the way, it still renders shit behind anything that's behind them. Which might be why the game runs so fucking bad.
Yeah, it just seems clunkily made.
Last fucking thing I'm going to say about this goddamn game. I don't know if you can pinpoint the exact piece of media that is to blame for this, whether it's Spider-Verse, whether it's Rick and Morty, or whatever the fuck. Stop doing multiverse plots. It is so goddamn played out at this point. Stop fucking doing them. Stop fucking doing them. Stop fucking doing them. It is not interesting anymore. I'm done.
Okay, one more multiverse.
I'm done. Ryan,
yeah, but what if
go.
this multiverse story is really good?
I've said my fucking piece.
Yeah, the
Fuck
next
this
one's
game.
always going to be the best one.
Fuck this game. Okay, Ryan, go for it.
My number one is Wonderlands. That Borderlands thingy.
Oh yeah.
I thought you meant Balan Wonderworld for like a second. It's like, wait a minute.
I thought it was going to be really good for some reason.
It looks great.
Wonderlands
Xbox.
is like, what if they expanded that one Tiny Tina DLC out into a full like pre-sequel length game, like not very long, but kind of like an expanded DLC, which early on the Tiny Tina thing, I think it did some cool stuff with the kind of like switching the world around and doing that. They did that in the Krieg DLC for Borderlands 3, and I thought that was a really cool DLC, and I was like, oh, I'd love to see them do a full game of this. In fact, if they're going to do fantasy stuff, I'm cool with Borderlands doing like references and stuff again, because you got a lot of stuff to reference. And they were like, we're going to change around the the character system and stuff like that, which I don't think any of it really landed. The new character stuff, it doesn't seem like an improvement. It just kind of seems like, I guess, like a lateral movement. Like they completely changed it and it's like equally as good as anything else, but it doesn't really, it just kind of like was like, sure, whatever. The writing's really bad. There's not enough fun references in it. The worlds are really pretty and well designed. The weapons all kind of suck. It feels like there's like 4, which is weird in a Borderlands game.
Yeah.
The like open world traversal is now just kind of like moving around like a D&D board. And it's all kind of dumb. The game's really ugly as far as like characters go. It wasn't great.
I also purchased and played Wonderlands, and to be fair, I wouldn't necessarily call it a letdown because you had been saying how bad it was all year, but I just needed to. I have a sickness in my head, and when it was $15, I picked it up, and I just have to play it because I love Borderlands, and yeah, it's nothing. It is like very few times have I played such a 6 out of 10 game. Just exists.
Yeah, and a lot of it feels like it wasn't super well designed, where they'll like try to do like vertical. They add some verticality to it, but then they add enemies that like you like if you walk off the edge or they like knock you off, like there's no like quick way to get back up, or it was like I would get caught in a whole other area of the game that I then need to progress through to get back to go finish the quest I was doing. And it's like, did nobody fall off of this while you were playing this? Like, did nobody notice that like falling off of this thing, you lose like 2 hours of progress because now you're in a different area of the game that you need to beat? It was weird.
Working as intended.
Yeah, apparently.
Very disappointing. But Jason, what was your number one biggest disappointment?
So my number one biggest disappointment was, so you know how the writing is bad in Neon White to some
Yeah.
of you?
Yeah, we all agree on that.
I agree it's bad. I just like it.
Another game that had a similar issue with me, but the writing is so bad and not even in like a funny, dumb, cringy way like Neon White, but it's just bad, and the gameplay isn't good enough to carry it, is Ollie Ollie World.
Bummer.
That game, the gameplay is fun. I mean, it's just a super simple side-scrolling skateboard game. But the writing's just really painful to read through. And I have a really hard time with games of just like saying fuck it and skipping all dialogue just to play. So I like every single time I would like read the conversations the characters were having and like the direction they're kind of pointing you to progress your story, and it's just so bad that I stopped playing the game. Like the gameplay did not carry it enough to get past how much I hated every time the character spoke.
It is like someone was going for that Adventure Time or Ooblets vibe, but not understanding it right, and yeah, it comes off super cringy.
Yeah, like they're trying to make these kind of similar to how Neon White makes like dumb references to John Cena, but Ollie Ollie World is kind of in the same vein, but doing a way, way worse job at it.
It's bad.
And
I
like
did like a 2-hour trial of that game.
and
It
the
is
characters
bad.
aren't like wacky to where it kind of makes up for that writing. They're just really vanilla, making dumb jokes that aren't funny. I mean, like maybe the game is really funny if you're 10, but it's not great. And the gameplay is above mediocre. Like it's a fun side-scrolling
It plays
skateboard
like those
thing.
games have always played. Like those.
But, and
those
I've never
games
and
are-
I've never I
yeah.
never played the previous one, so like this is the first one I did. But yeah, I played it a handful of times, and then I think I played it right before Neon White came out, or right before I was playing Neon White, and that sucked me up. Like that took all of my Switch time.
You should maybe pick up like Ollie Ollie 1 or 2 because it's that gameplay, but it doesn't have any of those like
Yeah.
visual or writing trappings at all.
Yeah.
Like it's
Helps
really
a
weird
lot.
that they did this pivot on the third one.
The first two are pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I
Ollie
like 'em.
Ollie.
Yeah.
2D Tony Hawk kind of.
Yeah.
But Lily, what is your number one cringiest writing?
Well, actually, that doesn't not apply. My number one biggest letdown has only been magnified in the previous week or so is High on Life.
Oh yeah.
So what
Atlanta
with-
drunk.
Yeah, what with all this this news coming out about the band Justin, not great. The problem for me with High on Life was it was fun enough that I would have finished it if I had been able to do so. While progressing one of the missions, I got a pop-up that said, "Hey, use these doors out in the middle of the fucking thing to go back home and dick around." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, I'll do that." So I did that and fucking soft locked myself because once I came back in, I'm no longer able to progress the mission. That was 6 weeks ago. Nothing has changed. And it's fun enough that I would finish it, but not fun enough to start from scratch and get myself back to that point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and like, that's disappointing. I would have at least liked to have been able to hit credits.
Mm-hmm.
It was not bad enough to make me stop. I did hit credits.
Right. Like, yeah, I
But
would
no,
have
it's
kept
not
playing.
worth replaying it. It's
No,
just not.
absolutely not. I
don't know how far in I am, since at this point I spent like 4 fucking hours trying to get this door to open.
Maybe halfway.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely not.
Right?
No,
That's a lot of
no
game.
shot I'm doing that again. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Granted, at this point, I don't know how much I want to support that studio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That conversation gets awkward now.
Yeah, so luckily it's already uninstalled and I won't be going back to it. So eat your heart out, Squanch.
The TV show from the wife cheater and the wife beater is in
Yeah,
jeopardy.
I tell you what. So yeah,
Danny, what's your number one game where you beat your wife?
Awful. Absolutely awful.
He was Atlanta drunk even though she was 16 and he wanted to fuck her and kept calling her jailbait, but it's fine because he is Atlanta drunk.
Oh boy.
you know,
Moving on from that, my number one letdown of the year is possibly just due to the system I was playing it on. Temtem for the Switch.
Oh yeah, I feel so bad about this. I feel really fucking bad because I'm partially responsible. I'm really fucking sorry about this.
Yeah, no, like I love Pokemon. Temtem is a Pokemon, like it looked fresh and good. Like
It's fucking great.
I was hearing good things about it. I played it on the Switch and I cannot go more than 30 minutes without connectivity issues. And with it being online only, whenever you disconnect from the internet, the game crashes. So I have to restart every 30 minutes. Like I don't have to like re-progress because it autosaves because it's online only. But I have to close the game and restart it every 30 minutes. And it's like it's just it takes something it took something that seemed like right up my alley and and made it so tedious. And I was really disappointed because I still want to play that game. I want to enjoy it. It seems, like I said, right up my alley. Like it's just what if Pokemon, but they actually learned
What if they gave a
lessons from
shit?
the past. Yeah. What if Game Freak cared about the franchise that they're producing games for? And
good one.
As someone who clocked 30 hours on Temtem, I can agree it is not worth having to do that 30-minute bullshit. That game is really fucking good, and it bums me the fuck out that you can't play it.
I actually for a couple hours did put it on a timer, and it is at 30 minutes.
Maybe it's like
the
a
game
memory leak or
crashes.
something.
Yeah, I don't know.
That bums me out because I really think you'd love it.
Yeah, I like I said, it seems exactly my style of like it's exactly my jam, and it's practically unplayable on Switch. So
Bummer.
yeah.
I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, but it's especially frustrating because I ran into zero issues playing it on Xbox.
No, I would love to pick it up on another system and play it.
It has cross progression, so if you do pick it up on something else, you get all of your stuff carried over.
Yeah, there's other games coming out.
Maybe not worth it.
And dropping $60 as opposed to dropping $30 is,
it's
yeah.
What do you mean?
I
$30?
can completely
That's
agree with you on that.
you get as many. You get $1 per minute of gameplay there, Danny. That's a good value.
Hunter, bring us home. What's the most disappointing thing you played this year?
My disappointing thing
Power
is,
Wash.
if we still did worst game of the year, this would be it. It's Rune Factory 5.
Always, and the old reliable Hunter disappointed with the Rune Factory game.
Because fucking
Set your watch
Rune,
to it.
I avoided this game because you warded me off of it, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome, because every handheld Rune Factory has only gotten better. 1 to 2, very obvious improvements. Same with 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. This game sucks my balls.
Sounds like it's fucking sick. What are you talking about?
I'm not hearing anything bad yet.
But it uses teeth.
Okay.
Toothy blowjob of the video game
Unfortunately, I'm
world.
not into that.
So this game originally came out in Japan in May of 2021. It did not come out in North America until March of 2022.
Always a good
People
sign.
knew how many it runs like absolute shit. And it was Switch exclusive until like July of 2022 when it was put on Steam. It runs like absolute shit. If there are more than 3 characters on screen, the frame rate chugs. It chugs sometimes if there are 2 characters on screen because they always have these stupid fucking visual effects going on. When it's spring, it's like flower petals floating off the trees, and when it's summer, it's strong beams of sunlight, and fall is leaves, and winter it's snow that just drop the fucking performance. Anytime you can disable this bit, but anytime you go to the farm, it immediately like cranks the camera up to an overhead position that not only is disorienting, it also chugs the game. Just moving the camera makes the game's frame rate drop. The characters are also fucking awful. Like, none of them are interesting. One of the bachelorettes is a literally mentally retarded dog girl. And for some reason, you can marry her because you can understand dog girl speak because you're an Earthling.
Yeah, obviously.
You do not unlock the flower shop, which also sells like medicines and stuff or like nutrients for your field until you beat 7 dungeons. There's just no flower shop before then. Anytime you want to grow flowers, or if you want like the things that make your crops bigger or protects them from typhoons, you gotta beat 7 dungeons first.
Woof.
And I mentioned that it came out in 2021 in Japan and 2022 in North America. They did not fix any of the bugs or the performance or anything in that time. The only thing they added, other than obviously translating it, is giving you the option to marry people of the same sex, but they did it in such a shitty way that it seems like they just flipped a 0 to a 1, because there are still times where you're talking to a dude as a dude and it's like a romantic scene and he refers to you as a woman. Like,
nice.
Oh, she's so pretty. And it's like, I'm a dude and
That's no good.
And the map is overly large. It is absurdly big for no reason. Like, it takes like a minute and a half to run from one side of town to the other in real time. And there's no good reason for it. So what they did is they added a warp thing. You can warp to specific spots once you've been to them once. But there's a bug with that where sometimes the warp animation will get you soft locked and you'll have to reload.
Fuck yes.
Because the warp animation, your character floats, turns into a ball of energy, shoots off to the top, then they come back down from the top wherever they are and turn back and land. But sometimes you can turn back a little too late and you'll just fall through the ground.
Working as
intended.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good year for Switch games behaving correctly.
The worst part is it looks like shit too. There's no reason it should run this poorly. It looks so bad. Even the PC version still has performance issues.
Oof.
Because I fucking started playing it again on PC to see.
Do it to yourself.
Hunter, I'm curious what you would think of Harvestella, because I don't think it's a good game. Like it's not a bad game.
I don't
It's not
love
good.
this game.
But it really scratched. I was having a strong itch for more Rune Factory, and I picked up Harvestella, and it scratched that itch. The character animations are something I would expect from late gen, like PlayStation 2 era, maybe early PlayStation 3. So like it looks awkward and is not like, combat isn't phenomenal by any means. it's like it's okay. But it scratches that Rune Factory itch very well. So I'd be interested to see you try that out.
I mean, maybe, but they're also re-releasing Rune Factory 3, so I'll probably just play that. But you mentioning janky things did remind me of another complaint I have with Rune Factory 5, in that you can move your furniture around. You've been able to do this since like 2 when they
It's an outrage.
but they made it so that in this one you can't actually make things flush to a wall. Instead, there's like a little zone where once you, like if you're moving a bookshelf or like your dresser or whatever, even if there's plenty of space, if it gets a little too close to the wall, can't just put it there. So every piece of furniture in your room, other than the bed, which you can't move at all, is just like 4
Floating.
inches away from the wall.
Gotta have room for your
You
cables.
can't do anything about it. Also, the game is fucking easy.
Bad feng shui.
Like, I don't know what they did. The game is just mind-numbingly easy. Like, it's never been a very hard series, but like, there's just you can just sidestep some enemy moves by literally just tapping the stick for less than a second. Like moving less than a foot to the left is enough to dodge most of the attacks in the game.
That's Dark Souls, baby.
It's some hitbox porn that's very bad.
Well, I think
grainy.
with the airing of the grievances, that is going to bring us to an end. Shout out to Frogun for someone actually making a new Chameleon Twist game that only Dash would want, but the game doesn't fucking work, so I can't play it. I also thought
That's
Cult of the
video
Lamb
games,
kind of sucked,
baby.
but not enough to like get into it.
Which one?
I'm not going to fight for that
Cult
game.
of the Lamb.
Shout out to Kasumi from Persona 5 Royal. She gets teased early in the game and built up, and she's very mid.
Okay, I can put you in the waiting room. I can just do that. But yeah, that is all of our negativity bottled into one category. So please join us next time where we will be highlighting the best games of 2022. It will be a very positive category. 'Cause some fucking bangers came out this year. But with that,
in a ranked list, if you would.
Number 14 is Temtem. Number 13 is Citizen Sleeper. Number 12 is Bloom. Number 11 is Tinykin. But the rest of it, you're gonna have to tune in on the next episode to find out about.
What a cliffhanger.
How about that shit?